everyone, and welcome to another Avatar Bible study. Today we are going to be in episode 2 of Book 2, The Cave of the Two Lovers. If you could join me in the book of Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 14, today is going to be very straightforward. For he himself is our peace, who has made both one, and has broken down the middle wall of separation, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, or conflict. That is, the law of commandments contained in ordinances, so as to create in himself one new man from the two, thus making peace. And that he might reconcile them both to God in one body through the cross, thereby putting to death the enmity. And he came and preached peace to you who were afar off, and to those who were near. For through him we both have access by one Spirit to the Father. In the Count of Omashu, we hear a story that united two villages based on the love two individuals separated by a natural enmity between their cultures, but a mutual love between each other. And as a result of the death of the husband, peace was brought between the two peoples when wrath and total destruction were expected. I hopefully don't have to go into too much detail to note the biblical themes taking place here, but I'm going to anyway. The first illustration obviously is going to be with Oma and Shu compared to Jesus and mankind. As stated in the introductory verses, God's reasons for interacting with mankind have always been out of a desire for a relationship. Like the motives for Oma and Shu wanting to be together in spite of the opposition between them, God's love remains the motivation for continuing for him to reach out to us regardless of the obstacles between us. We see this in the Old Testament as well as in the New. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 7 through 8. By the way, this is where we get the idea of Israel being God's chosen people. Why did he choose them? Verse 7. For the Lord did not send his love on you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any other people, for you were the least of all peoples, but because the Lord loves you, and because he would keep the oath, this will be important later, which he swore to your fathers, the Lord has brought you out with a mighty hand, redeemed you from the house of bondage, from the Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So noting that first premise, in the Old Testament, God's basis for dealing with Israel was that he loved them, that he made a promise to them, and he can be trusted to keep it. But we see this in the New Testament as well. John chapter 3 and verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him would not perish but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son in the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. So noting that first premise, like Oma and Shu, God's desire to be with you is based on love, not some bizarre assassination plot or to set you up for something. He wants to have a relationship with you, and we get that from the best source we have on what he is and isn't. The second illustration that I think was demonstrated in today's episode beautifully, albeit apart from the traveling minstrels, but that's another issue. The Labyrinth is a great illustration of the law. The obstacle between Oma and Shu was a mountain, and thanks to the fact that they had learned earthbending from the badger moles, they were able to make an impassable obstacle into the one and only means of bringing them together. However, it wasn't a road, it was a maze. Now there are many wrong ways to pass through a maze, but only one that resulted in them being with the one that they loved. Like our previous study, the law of the Old Testament, there are many ways for us to not be like God. But there is one way for us to be like God, that is to be like God. You can be perfect, not one hair out of place, Azula, or you can receive mercy. But noting that point as well, there are two possible ways for getting through the maze. Just basically perfectly follow its path without ever making one mistake, or allow the one it was intended to point us to guide us through it. And that's the point. James chapter 2 and verse 10 reads, For whoever shall keep the whole law, yet stumble in one point, this is in regards to the first option in the labyrinth, he is guilty of all. If you break a law, doesn't matter which one, you're a lawbreaker. For he who said, Do not commit adultery, also said, Do not murder. Now, if you do not commit adultery, but you do murder, you have become a transgressor, a violator, willfully, of the law. So speak and so do as those who will be judged by the law of liberty. For judgment without mercy to the one who has shown no mercy. Mercy triumphs over judgment. I'd rather choose mercy, is his point. And that's what Paul notes in this book to the Galatians, chapter 3, verse 21. Is the law then against the promises of God? Is the labyrinth an obstacle to keep Oma and Shu apart? Certainly not. For if there had been a law which could have given life, truly righteousness, a right relationship with God, would have come by the law. But Scripture has confined all under sin, that the promise by faith in Jesus Christ might be given to those who believe. But before faith came, we were being kept under guard by the law, kept for the faith which would afterward be revealed. Therefore the law was our tutor, our guide, to bring us to Christ, that we might be justified by faith. And that's what brings us to our final point, regarding the statement, love is brightest in the dark. This is an illustration of salvation through faith. Like Oma and Shu were guided to each other by means other than what they could see, God made a relationship with them possible through the basis of something beyond sight as well. Now, this doesn't mean that it's based on something other than reality. There's more to reality than what you can see. Otherwise, the badger moles and Toph wouldn't exist. Or rather, the world wouldn't exist to them. But if, on the other hand, I'm consistent and fair, they would continue to interact with the world even though they can't see it. Why? Well, for the same reason they were able to see through the cave. It's how relationships work. The substance of a relationship is based on trust. And that's literally what the word faith, pistis in the original language, means. So when we read passages like Hebrews 11 and verse 1, faith is the substance of things hoped for, it's talking about there actually being something. Not based on what you see, but what you recognize to be true, what you trust to be there. Not on the basis of a rejection of reality, but recognizing a reality beyond sight. Notice that. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It's not based on what, notice, isn't there. It's what you can't see. There is a difference. Likewise, Ephesians 2 and verse 8 says, "For it is by grace that you have been saved, through faith. That not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast." And this is what ultimately brings us to the recap. Like Oma and Shu, Jesus doesn't care about the conflict between you and him regarding sin. That's why he died, to remove the obstacle between you and him. He loves you and wants you to be with him forever. Likewise, like the labyrinth, the law's purpose isn't to block us from God, but to show us we have no other choice but to follow his guide or be separated from him forever. And like the statement written on the memorial stone, faith is how we receive that relationship. Trust his promise that he'll be waiting for you in the labyrinth. Notice that. And that he'll see you through it. That's why he's waiting for you in the first place. Hebrews 11 and verse 6, "Without faith it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him." Thank you for your time listening to this study. If you have any sincere questions regarding the topics we've discussed, I encourage you, leave them in the comments below. If you'd like to encourage the ministry, you know where to go. But most importantly, if you know someone who would be a fan of Avatar but perhaps hasn't seen these biblical themes, would be blessed by this message, please share it with them. Thank you for your time. Remember that Jesus loves you and that he is, like with Oma and Shu, making a way where there is no way. You can try to traverse the maze, or you can simply recognize that he will see you through it because he promised he will be there to not only meet you in that labyrinth, but most importantly to see you through it and to be with you forever. That is our promise, that is our assurance, and that's what makes the Christian life not only beautiful, but grounded in reality. Because like any relationship, it's not just based on what we see, but especially based on who we trust and why. He's batting 100. He hasn't let us down yet. God bless you.